What is up, YouTube? I am at Caffeine and Octane, and this month I thought about doing something a little bit different. Instead of doing the usual highlights video for my YouTube channel, I'm gonna do a little walkthrough commentary as we stroll through the show and talk to ourselves, and people look at us like we're strange. Those people just looked at me like I was strange. I'm gonna comment on some of the cars, maybe even make fun of people, who knows? But we'll see what happens. All right, this is the classics section of Caffeine and Octane, which typically has more people here, but it's a little bit wet and rainy outside today. So behind me, you can see some of the classic automobiles that usually come, as well as people too weak to stand, which is usually what you find in the classics area of Caffeine and Octane. A lot of lawn chairs. Usually at Caffeine and Octane, you find a wide variety of people, from rich guys in supercars to old people driving classics to hipsters driving whatever hipsters drive and talking about craft brews. There's everything. It's a lot of fun to walk around the show and see all the different kinds of cars. I see a Audi R8 pulling in over there, so I'm gonna go take a look at that. That was that Audi R8 V10, brand new. Now it's gonna draw a crowd. Groupies are one of the many types of people that you'll find at Caffeine and Octane. They usually seek out the wealthy supercar owners and then sit around and talk cars with them. When the wealthy guy says, well, I'm thinking about buying a Ferrari, they usually respond with something like, well, I'm thinking about trading in my Civic, or, you know, maybe getting a Prelude or something like that. I don't know about some of the fans here, but it always concerns me by the amount of military hardware that seems to show up at Caffeine and Octane. I mean, what's with that? Where do these people come from? Who's got like a spare military tank or truck sitting in their backyard and thinks, I'm gonna bring it to a car show? That'd be pretty sweet. I appreciate the nostalgia and the preserving of things like that, but it's a little concerning when it shows up at a car show. I have a sneaking suspicion that the kind of person that puts dapper across the windshield of their car is the same type of person that thinks dapper equates to a man bun and a suit jacket over an undershirt wearing sandals. I see a David Patterson's Smurf Mustang behind me, which means that dude in blue is somewhere in the crowd, no doubt surrounded by a bunch of people going, hey, let me talk to you about my car. How he gets anything done, I have no idea. This is either the world's best self-referential joke or saddest case of misplaced self-confidence I've ever seen. The nice thing about Caffeine and Octane is how politically uncorrect it can be. You have things like Hummers and Mack trucks and giant jacked up pickups. Nobody cares about that. The Baby Seal clubbing station is over off to my right. I'll show it to you later. But you get a little bit of everything, including the things nobody likes anymore. RBM of Atlanta always has a sweet display, but I'm not so sure about the green G-Wagon behind me. I feel like the kind of person who would buy a green G-Wagon would be the same type of person who would plunk down $200 at McDonald's and say, keep the change. Does anyone remember the bicycle cop show called Pacific Blue? This guy sure doesn't. This is normally the Mopar row, but it looks like today the LS crowd has taken over, which is fine by me because I have an LS Everything shirt on. But usually the Mopar guys are the ones hanging out here, which always makes me feel like someone's about to hand me a mixtape of some kind. Some revving's going on here. I'm assuming they're 4-cylinders, judging by the crowd of millennials hanging out around them. We're here on the Subaru row, as you might be able to tell, and Subarus are typically associated with man buns and vaping. I mean, don't get me wrong, Subaru is love, right? But it's a love of vaping. Every once in a while at Caffeine and Octane, you'll see the occasional dead body in a car. It's very unfortunate. Behind me is an extremely proud group of Chrysler Crossfire owners, raising their hood in a salute that says to the world that I bought a much worse version of the Mercedes SLK that wasn't good then and it will never be good now. You know, I'm giving a lot of people a hard time here, but we all love cars and we're all here for the same reason, to see a whole lot of cool cars in one place at one time. That being said, it never ceases to amaze me the number of people that think their cars are cool. Look, there are cool cars, there are cars that weren't cool that were made cool, and there are cars that nobody thought was cool that became cool. But then there are cars that are just never cool, that just suck. Recognize the difference. Don't get me wrong, I love the Scion FRS and Subaru BRZ, but it's becoming a bit of a cliche at this point, like buying one automatically grants you access to the enthusiast club. And it doesn't work that way, guys. I'm gonna head over to the Supercar area and check out that crowd, because I know that's what you guys really want to see. We're gonna see what kind of people are hanging out over there. My guess is gonna be a lot of wannabes and groupies, but We'll find out. Can we all just agree that the new Camaro is awesome and superior to the Mustang in every way? I mean, I think we can. I think we can now. It's awesome. End of story. Old Camaro, new Camaro. Old Camaro, new Camaro. Now we're walking down the Mustang row, and I could make some joke about how Mustangs always crash and how they always run into people. I'm just kidding, there's nothing there. See, there's nothing there. I was just messing with you. One of the best parts of Caffeine and Octane is all the engine noises. You don't often hear so many different types of cars' engines in one place at one time. And that would definitely be one of my favorite things about the show. Well, the Supercar section is a little thin this month, and it's probably because of the weather and whatnot. We'll do a little pass through so you can kind of see what we have on display here. We got a couple Lambos, a lot of Porsches, but that's because Jim Ellis always brings out a lot of Porsches, and a few Ferraris. This is one of those moments where you realize you left a piece of your car on the ground. Love the Mercedes AMG GT. There goes one in black. You know, the thing about Caffeine and Octane is every time you come out here, everybody's suddenly a photographer. You see more photographers out here than anywhere else. It's like the car paparazzi. Some of them sporting quite expensive rigs. That's an impressively large truck, but I imagine it's driven by someone who likes to talk about how many animals he's killed. There's always a good contingent of BMWs. You see quite a few of them behind me, but they all come with a whiff of has-been. Like all of the older models, the E46 M3 and the E39 M5, those were the glory days, and now they're just hanging on and clinging to them because the new ones, not so much. I love the secret knowledge that everybody possesses at Caffeine and Octane. You walk around here, people tell their friends things like, well, you know, Scion's being discontinued and they're gonna sell the FRS as a Toyota. Really, thank you for that revelation that you could have found on any website ever. I'm not sure why people play music here as if a dance party is gonna spontaneously break out, much to everybody's surprise. I hope I'm dead first. That is so much awesome, I can't even begin to describe. The time and commitment it would take to make something like that, that is sweet. Almost as sweet as that AMG GTS. Maybe even sweeter, I don't know, depends on preference, but that is pretty awesome. I'm just gonna let you revel in the sound of this engine. I don't even know if you can hear me right now. Check it out. Yeah, well, it was only a matter of time before someone brought a Tesla Model X to Caffeine and Octane, and I have to admit, it's pretty awesome. The interior is so roomy thanks to the battery pack, and the Falcon wing doors, I don't care what you think of them, they're sweet. People are starting to roll out, which means good exhaust sounds. I don't know if we'll get quite the show we got a couple months ago, but yeah, there might be some showing off. The Ford GT is still one of the best supercars ever made, period. I don't care what you think of Ford, I'm not a fan. But it's undeniably awesome, undeniably good looking, and draws a crowd wherever it goes. Well, and with that, I'm gonna head out. I don't know if this little experiment on commentary and tours has been completely successful. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. I didn't even know if I was gonna come today. But I hope you liked this brief commentary. I'm assuming I'm gonna cut it up and edit it. Maybe I never do. Maybe it's in the computer somewhere and you never see this and I'm talking to myself in an awkward way. But I hope you liked it. If I put it on the internet, come back next time. We'll see you then. This is Jax. Peace.